The moment my eyes opened, Hangzhou greeted me with its scent of drizzling early mornings and damp agriculture. The gentle rustle of the trees outside my window, coupled with a distant dance of the roosters, whispered a welcome song of familiarity. I cautiously stepped into the day, praying I'd feel at home here like I used to in Seoul. With an unfamiliar routine to follow, I kicked off my day by visiting a place that took me back to the roots of my culinary journey, the heart of my childhood, my grandmother's grave. The pleasant air smelled of fresh raindrops on aged stone, bamboo, musty incense, and old, cherished memories. Rows of tombstones washed in dew rose out of the grassy earth, silent yet humming with stories passed down through generations. I could almost hear my grandmother's soft laughter, her words of wisdom about food always carrying a tangent about life, her nurturing warmth that sparked my passion for the culinary arts. Every memory attached to her was a recipe in itself, a twist of unconditional love, a dash of inspiration, stirred under the homely aroma of home-cooked meals. Holding a bouquet of marigolds, her favorite, I kneeled in the damp soil, my fingers tracing the engraving of her name. The monsoon fragrance mixed with the sweetness of the flowers, and a lump formed in my throat, a concoction of longing and reverence. I burned the incense, praying for her soul, for her invisible hand to guide me, and the swirling smoke seemed to dance, intertwining with the remnants of her spirit. I whispered into the nippy wind, my words carried to the heavens. I wish to make you proud, Grandma. After some serene moments of solitude amongst the tombstones, I decided to explore Hangzhou's artistic side by dipping my toes into pottery. The tactile feel of wet clay, molding with the rhythm of the spinning wheel and taking unique shapes under my palms, mesmerized me. The craftsmanship of pottery mirrored mixology in many ways. Both arts learned from precision, patience, creativity, and the innate intuition to transform raw elements into works of beauty. Finding inspiration in the Hangzhou's scenic beauty, I molded a vase with intricate carvings of the West Lake's panorama, reminding myself of the day I'd fill it with fresh marigolds to honor my grandmother's guidance through my voyage. This tribute, in the language of handmade pottery and unwavering filial love, was my way of transporting a part of my countryside roots to my urban future. They say art often transcends the barriers of languages, but more importantly, it can also architect beautiful bridges between past, present, and future. A bridge I was beginning to construct with clay and memories. And in this hallowed ancestral ambiance, I felt like a piece of my heart belonged here in Hangzhou too. During this time, my relationship with my younger brother Jinhai took on a new life. No longer the childhood playmates, we had grown into individuals, carrying different views, dreams, and the burden of separation imposed by our adult lives. Nothing reminded me of this more than the minor squabble we got into over seemingly trivial dining preferences. I wished to relish the Hangzhou's delicate Longjing tea while he championed the robust flavors of the Puerto Rican rum he'd recently taken a liking to. A trivial argument, yet at its heart, it was a manifestation of our growing differences and individuality. It felt eerily reminiscent of our childhood squabbles, and as children do, we reconciled this time on the magnificent trails of the Sixi National Wetland Park. Despite the passage of several years, the park stood as a steadfast memoir of our shared past. The verdant bamboo forests, picturesque silt ponds, and the soothing rustling of the reeds were the essence of our play area growing up. Each step we took together was like walking down memory lane, without being so overtly nostalgic. There was a soothing comfort in our shared silence, broken only by the chirping birds and the fluttering leaves, which acted as a natural acoustic soundtrack to our unspoken conversations. Our reconciliation day, hiking through the lush trails, dodging low-hanging branches, and leaping across tiny puddles became a patchwork of experiences. The comfort of familiarity and the thrill of rediscovery both coalesced into a beautiful day of simple joy. By the end of our hike, as we sat on an elevated wooden platform, overlooking a landscape bursting with culture, history, and nature, it almost felt like no time had passed. "Remember the time we used to race each other in the park?" Jinhai quipped, sipping from a flask, his hair clumped together with sweat. We shared laughter, recalling the absurdities of our adolescence that seemed like a lifetime away. In a very odd, profound way, it felt like Jinhai and I had finally come back home. Not just to Hangzhou, but to the sacred realm of our mutual memories and siblinghood, momentarily forgetting about the world outside this park. It amazed me how the same trails held different meanings for our past and present selves. The playground of our shared childhood had seamlessly transformed into the healing cradle of our adult relationship. The day following our hike, as the sun dipped below the mountains, merging the sky into hues of mauve, amber, and violet, I found myself sitting by the famed West Lake. A sense of serenity washed over me as I watched the dying sun cast a warm glow over the placid waters. It was extraordinary, the way a simple sunset could promise hope for a new day while bidding adieu to the old. I had experienced many sunsets around the world, each imprinting its own distinct memory. But this sunset in Hangzhou sparked a creative vision that I hadn't anticipated. As the fiery orange ball of light descended into the lake, turning the water into a canvas of brilliant colors, I felt a desire, an impulse, to capture this picturesque scene in more than just a picture. I wanted to create something interactive, something that would allow others to experience the magic I felt. The peaceful setting reignited my passion for mixology, prompting me to push the boundaries of traditional cocktails. I started envisioning how the sunset's gradient shades could translate into a layered cocktail, slowly revealing the flavors as you sip through the different layers. A cocktail that wasn't just a static bore, but a living piece of art that evolved with every sip. My thoughts turned towards familiar spirits that suited this vision. Chinese baijiu, French cognac, and Korean soju. I was thrilled with the possibilities of marrying these diverse flavors together. I pictured the layers mimicking the sunset with the clear soju flowing into the amber cognac blending into the rosy baijiu. Could I infuse the drinks with the blend of nostalgia, warmth, and tranquility I felt sitting by the lake? Could my patrons not only taste the blend, but experience the emotion through it? My desire for this innovation was insatiable. Setting out on this mission to mix memory into a cocktail glass was an exciting challenge I couldn't resist. I couldn't wait to get back to my home bar in Seoul to experiment, to create, to aspire. A new, exhilarating journey had begun right there, by the West Lake, under a majestic sunset. The next day, after the sun had been tucked in by the horizon, it was time for me to do something that immediately tugged on my heartstrings: recreate the symphony of flavors of my mother's home-cooked food. After all, nothing can surpass the comfort of a meal cooked with love and long-held family recipes. It's a comforting embrace, a connection to childhood memories that only food can provide, stirring up deep-rooted feelings of home. Stepping into my childhood kitchen felt like stepping into a time capsule. The familiar whiff of roast duck that my mother was making brought on a surge of nostalgia. That instantly reminded me of those times when, as a kid, I would rush into the kitchen attracted by the mouth-watering aroma and steal a piece while Mom wasn't looking. Oh, the joy of it! The taste seemed to dissolve my years away, and I found myself laughing, feeling much younger and carefree. And then there it was, the dish that was closest to my heart, my mother's famous sweet and sour fish. It was a gem of a dish, its appeal challenging me tastefully and emotionally. With its punchy sourness and hint of sweetness layered over the savory fish, it was more than just a palate pleaser. It was a sensory delight that had childhood etched all over it. Looking at the intricate details of the dish, it was clear to me that the level of precision and mastery needed were equivalent to creating a complex cocktail. This could be it. I could pay homage to this treasured family recipe by transforming it into a cocktail. Imagine a rich infused spirit capturing the sweet and sour essence, a hint of fishy brine to add the savory twist, maybe an undercurrent of spiced rice wine to tie in the whole experience together. A perfect balance of all elements, much like Mom balances her flavors in cooking. The concept was thrilling, my newfound inspiration an exhilarating rush. I could just picture the final product, a beautiful conjuring up of old family traditions merging perfectly with my chosen career path. This would definitely make a great story to tell my patrons while serving it up. A mixology masterpiece with a backstory. Plus, what could be a more beautiful tribute to my mother than capturing her delicacies in a cocktail? Moreover, in doing so, a part of my past could always be with me at my bar in Seoul, pouring a life's worth of journeys, lessons, and bonds into each drink, shaped by those humble beginnings in the rustic kitchen back in Hangzhou. My culinary voyage and love for fusion that had brought me this far, all wrapped up in a single glass. My heart was brimming with possibilities, stirred by nostalgia and a deep longing for home as the key ingredients in my next concoction. The adventure was about to get even more intoxicating. The day following the successful cocktail party was unexpectedly tumultuous thanks to the summer rain. Just as we were diligently spreading out the picnic blanket and carefully positioning our beloved dishes and drinks, the skies opened up on cue. A sudden downpour was wildly splashing, uninvited, all over our picnic setup, saturating our sandwiches and diluting our lemonade, faster than you can say, umbrella. The plan was ruined, everything soaked and us caught in the middle of it all, drenched from head to toe. But just as spontaneity oftentimes accompanies calamity, the rain transformed the picnic from a demure lunch session into a wild, splashy affair. The sky became our theater, the potent raindrops drumming a merry beat on the earth serving as our orchestra. And we, the five-strong family dashing around trying to keep the sandwiches from crumbling, prancing around like soaked chickens, provided the comic relief. Our laughter pierced through the loud pitter-patter, only slightly quieter than the crescendo of rain, but much heartier. Retrieving our tattered sandwiches and half-dissolved biscuits became a fun, albeit messy, treasure hunt. Quick dashes to get soaked and wild whoops when we found a morsel miraculously unscathed by the rain added more color to the dramatic scene. We forgot the initial plan and ran with what we had: a rainy day, a wrecked picnic, and a full concert of laughs. Eating soggy sandwiches never tasted more delightful. Huddled under a couple of large trees, we chewed our picnic finds with gusto, each bite punctuated with a fond memory or an uproarious tale. The downpour had turned out to offer an unexpected delight, and had managed to bring us closer as we traded stories and inside jokes over soggy food. As the downpour gradually receded, we lay looking at the rain-kissed surroundings, the glistening blades of grass, the gentle drip-drop from the leaves, and the glorious wet mess we were in the middle of. Everything was holding its breath after the torrential performance, as if awaiting its applause. Exhausted from all the unintended running around and laughter, we lay splayed on the grass, sharing a moment of solitude amid the wild dance of the day. And in the end, the hurriedly tossed-together, rain-soaked picnic served up more echoes of laughter and shared moments than any meticulous, sunny-day spread could ever have. Satisfied with the aftermath of the unexpected picnic, the next item on the list was to further explore my mixology craft. I had recently stumbled on a recipe that was inspired by the colors of Hangzhou's night sky, lit up by stars. With the memory of the soaking washout of the picnic fresh in my mind, I was eager to remind my taste buds of the merriment of the day. The idea of duplicating the day's hilarity into a cocktail sounded appealing, and I was all set to host a mini cocktail party for my old school friends. With every chop, mix, and blend, I was taken back to our hijinks during the picnic. The base of the drink was a blue curacao, representing Hangzhou's dramatic night sky. Green apple liqueur added, much like the calming but profound energy of the showers. A splash of grenadine was the setting sun that we unfortunately missed due to the clouds but imagined in our hearts. And the crown of the drink was a spray of lemon zest, the unplanned surprise, much like the sudden rain. It was more than just a beautiful drink in an exquisite glass. It was a liquid memoir of a day filled with laughter and spontaneous fun. It was my tribute to a serendipitous mess that had serenely morphed into one of my fondest memories of the visit. A drink that began as a simple cocktail experiment was rapidly becoming a symbol of this brief sojourn home. Each of my friends subtly recognized elements of our rainy afternoon picnic in this drink. With every sip bringing forth warm reminiscences, there was an eruption of laughter, exchange of banter, and a newfound appreciation for cocktails, especially for the one crafted by their long-lost friend. It was not just a cocktail that they were toasting to. It was a tribute to friendship, a clinking cheer to our shared past, our struggles, our victories, and our indomitable spurt of resistance against everything life threw at us. The Hangzhou Night Sky cocktail was a hit, and my friends left with an invitation to their old buddy's cozy apartment in Seoul, promising a sequel to this epic reunion. As I watched them leave, I echoed with their laughter, the sounds of clinking glasses, and the memory of my successful party. It dawned on me then that mixology was not mere blending of spirits and concoctions. It was an art, a story told in the luscious dance of liquors in a glass, a memory blooming with every sip. By the end of the night, my old room was filled with a lingering energy and intoxicating laughter that refused to die down even long after my friends had dispersed. Alone in the company of the ticking clock and humming refrigerator, I found myself lying on the backyard hammock, gazing into the starlit canvas above me and wallowing in the serene quietness of the summer night. Next to me as a silent companion was the empty glass, the last remaining vestige of the fun-filled evening. It was indeed a palette of emotions that pulsed through me as I swirled my finger against the rim of this vacant glass. The lively chatter, laughter, the taste of the Hangzhou night sky cocktail, and the warmth of my old friends were suddenly distilled into this one simple object. In that moment, it hit me that my life was like this cocktail, an audacious mix of diverse elements. Born in China, raised in two different cultures, survived heartbreaks, basking in the solitary showers of Paris and Korea, and fueling my ambition of becoming a world-class mixologist. With every passing second and the ticking of the clock, I felt a sense of serene joy bestowed upon me by the universe. A realization settled within me then. My life was not a series of isolated moments, but a cosmopolitan blend of adventures, most planned, some serendipitous, all influential. Each swig of my journey carried a memory that started as a raw spirit, but with time, evolved into a signature blend in my cocktail of life. The empty glass thus became a mirror, gleaming with my reflection under the starlit sky and whispering back to me the beauty of evolving. My career, my personal life, they were not static. They were not meant to be. They were like these celestial bodies, silent, shining, evolving every moment, shaping and reshaping my path. This constant turbulence, uncertainty, the bending, breaking, reshaping, were not setbacks. They were simply my ingredients, shaping me into the mixologist and woman I am today. In the quiet landscape of Hangzhou's night, having the stars as my only witnesses, I pledged to keep adding to my cocktail, my life. I promised to allow myself to venture into unknown territories, to accept the splashes of unforeseen experiences, to learn from every slip, every fall, to fearlessly enjoy the process of blending and not just the contentment of the final drink. Because after all, I am the mixologist of my life, and the joy is in crafting as much as it is in savoring.